Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Mr. T, and I'm working on some of the brand new world for homebrew content for Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, the second edition. I found a new little somebody was starting to use to create games with. Um, and I'm going to try to use it to create a world map, and start going through the world building process with this new world. Um, going to take months and months, and I expect that to go. Spend some time every few days to come online and make it. So, brand new app. It's called Songs of Ions. It's a world generator that does some tectonic, plant growth, hydrology, stuff like that. I have not played around with it. I just downloaded it, made sure it worked. So let's go. Go to main menu. Let's check these keys, options. Down the music bit. Have a previous save world. We're going to generate a world. He's got Patreon. The wiki did not work. I tried that. Here. Going to Discord to see actually has a Discord still active. I do not see it being edited. Top Hat Beaver. Find it in my this. Version 020. A quick look. Kind of pins they have. We're going to click on Generate World. See General. I'm gonna hey, I just generated a random number. I'm going to put it in here, 7286. Speed determines how far towards the equator the continental ice sheets reach prior to the ice sheet. Higher this value, the more likely you are to have fjords, Great Lakes, northern latitudes, sunken continental crusts. Mild age tends to do the opposite, results older. I'm going to bring this up. Fjords would be nice. Towards the end of world generation, the game will start running plant simulation given number of years. This slider controls how many years of plant growth will be simulated. Is by far the most expensive step alongside plant growth. Also runs water flow and climate resolution. If you're only interested in topology of the world, 50 years should strike a good middle point between short generation times and accuracy. Years. Okay. General TE tectonic. Number of super oceans that will exist are plates that are nearly 100% water with little or no continental crust, but very dense. Heat boundaries are either ridges, trenches. Two sounds good. Minor ocean. Supercontinents. Number that exists in the world. Supercontinents are larger than the average major plates with a high percentage of light, continental crusts, have long young mountain ranges running along the plate boundaries, and will often have significant sunken segments. A real example is Asia. Major continents are larger class of tectonic that typically 2 to 4 times bigger than minor plates. 5, 8. Known magma plumes, hotspots, or stationary segments of the plant's mantle that are especially against tectonic plate moves over them. A hotspot often punches holes through the crust, resulting in volcanoes. More hotspots result in more volcanic islands, more seamounts, and more continental rifting and more volcanic fields, like Hawaii. Let's 2. Plate speed. Plate speed determines how quickly tectonic plates move and as a result the violence of their collisions. Faster plates. Oh, we're going to make that 1.5. Thick crust determines the rough average continental crust that we see in the world, less dense than oceanic. Choosing less crust will generate worlds dominated by oceans and ocean boundary features. Choosing more crust will generate worlds dominated by land and land plates. Bring it up to 45. MO, mountains, old mountains. Created in the past due to plate collisions but have since become geologically inactive. These are Scandinavian mountains. Ancient ones are. Mountain passes, young and powerful origins like the Himalayas. Great number of passes will work connectivity with few passable mountains. 3. Mountain width. Results in wider mountains, wider foothills around the mountain, but no. I'm just belts. Frequency. Okay, those are flyers. We're going to keep those like that. Large island arcs. Common along plates. Sorry about my dogs. There's here in the front yard. We're going to bring this up to like a 4. I like island arcs. Real world example of an uplifted continent. Baltic space. Sunken continents. Moving the slider to the right produces higher frequency of uplifted continents, where sliding to the left produces sunken continents. Some land masses experience uplifting. Sunken continents have pimpled coastlines with more natural ports. I'm going to change this to like a point. little shelves. That's the same. That the same, and keep that the same. Hit the game from entering an infinite loop. Roll higher. Maximum C is 70. Minimum C is largest landmass. We're going to call it 35. Maximum number of tiny islands. 15. Two. So that should be minimum big islands. 2. In 50. Area of the largest landmass versus percentage of total land area. Save config. That goes. Click return. I'm going to click generate world. We're going to see what it does. Terrain only or terrain with vegetation? We're going to try it with vegetation. On here. I don't know whether it froze or not. Again. Create world. Load config. First try. Select. We are going to relaunch it really quick. The Unity app, so let me relaunch. We'll load that config. Launch. World. No, it worked because I did one earlier. There we go. I had to click Planet Editor. Okay. I'm gonna click Finalize. See what it does here. You know, it's going to be slow to begin with. Again, using a brand new tool. And it's got to go through the generating process. We're going to see if I can actually outload these things. I did. Oh no, we don't need to do that, do we? I did create a world map with the Don John Fantasy World Creator. From the reading I've done, it's got some issues with its generation process, which may be enough because I don't really need it to be a fully on. So if this one doesn't work, we'll go back to the Don John one, and then I will kind of show you the process that I go through when I want to create a world, starting with maps. So I'll create the entire of the world, and then I'll slowly build the maps from what I've generated. Well, that one's working. I will go ahead and work through. I'll show you the Don John process through. So map style, I always use Atlas, water, and ice. You can make want. Got some it's in here for speed. Geography, yes. I don't necessarily need cities and castles. Label map. Have a construct a world, and then we can look at it, see if we like it. This is a free thing, and you're using their servers. You put into a queue. Wait for that queue to go. I'll see if this is progress. It still says checking like mass sizes. Queue. So, like I said, I created a map with Don John. Got this big supercontinent here. On the left hand here, let me. I did create a world. Got a continent over here, and then a big, huge continent over here. I'm gonna call like this upper area continent. Actually, but probably if I were to use this, create 1, 2, 3, 4 major maps with it. And each of these maps I'd probably divide into submaps. Like you can definitely see that, hey, this would be an easy one to submap. This area. Probably can come up with his own map for down here and down here. But this major area would be the same. So if I end up going this route, this is the map I'll use on John as well. We are still in queue. Up Unity, it still says checking landmass sizes. So some of my constraints may have goobered it. Remember it taking this. I just did a quick auto generate before. What we're going to do is I'm going to go continue open. Browse files. We're not going to save what we have here. So here's what I do. I am going to want to, let's say I want to make this upper left-hand continent. Over here on the right, I've got a little bit of carryover to that section there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that area. I'm going to hit Control X. I'm going to come over here and hit Control V. I am going to drag it until it appears to line up. Okay. I'm going to hit Control Z. Probably what I'm having to do. We are going to drop that island out, and I'm going to resave it as the first. Up. I'm going to use this as a background in a different application. I've done. I'm going to do File, Save As. I'm going to go to my Hive. And now I'm going to call it Continent 1. Okay, so I have that continent. Let's see what else making any progress. It doesn't look like it's making any progress, so I'm going to get out of that effort. Here we go. Don John did create us a world. We're going to zoom out. Yeah, I don't really like this because of that. I mean, it's not broken up at all. Okay, at least the other one that I had was broken up. I'm going to restore this, guys. I did some number calculations with that map that I was dealing with back to 8. So this is what I have right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this into Wondergraft, and I'm going to use this as a background for making my map. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some counting so I can see how many squares I have, rows and columns. 1, 2, 3, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 23, 25. 122, 23, 22, 30, 1, 3, fish, all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 13, 15. 5, 3. Okay. Open up Google Doc that I just have some notes on. Let's do 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, 35, 6, 8. We're going to 8. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay. Sure, I saved this as image. I'll con it. Oh, next thing I'm going to do is that I don't need now. I think this is crashed. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, or it's spending way too long doing what I want it to do. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open WonderDraft. I'm going to take that image. I'm going to call a new map. Okay, and this is in pixels, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 4800 by 39. Let's actually do it a little bit differently. We are actually going to figure out what the actual size of it is. So I'm going to a different screen, go find the size of that file in pixels. Continent 1. Property. Width is 946 by 788. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply those by 10, and what that's going to do is it's going to blow that whole map up by a factor of 10. If I can get into some detail in here. I'm going to do 9460 by, doesn't like to go above that. So let me multiply all those by 5. So let me write them down. 946, 788. Multiplying by 5. I'm clear. 46 times 5. 30. 788 times 5. 394. We do 4730. 7 feet. Oh, by 39.4. back to none. 30. Okay. Been a couple years since I've used um, Wonder Draft or Dungeon Draft or any of that. We're gonna go from there. We'll figure out what the continent name is and stuff later. Okay. So this map is 5 times the size of previous map. I want to really quick. Again. On my other screen, I got the map. And I am going continent. This will be higher than 4. Will not go any higher than 4. That's good to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new map that is 4 times as big as my original. Up with the new numbers. 940. 88 times. I wonder if I can resize. Getting a whole map. What we're going to do is we're going to change map size. 3780. 3152. And there we go. So I now have my map there. That Got to get used to the. Okay. Thing I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay a grid. And I want to overlay the grid so it's the same as my grid size is 92 pixels. I have it on up top. It's off a little bit down here. But it does look fairly good. Just to make a note of that. Okay. Water. And is I am going to paste and drag. Okay. Brush. And we're just going to play around with this for a minute. And all I'm doing is I'm tracing the image. In general, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, here. Inlet. Spacebar. And all I am doing is coming up with a rough outline of continent. To turn off back to end up making the drawing tool bigger around the continent. I don't like night. To figure out what our scale is in a minute. You know how big the original map is, and I want to again because role playing game keep it simple. We're gonna have 24 hours in a day, so I need to um, come up with mileage that's divisible by 24. Scale from there. I think um, gonna do again. It will be some math I have to do. There. Now, we'll be cleaning up these edges later. And again, on our first pass, we're just going for general topography. We're not I'm care about a lot of the specifics. What I'm going to be able to do is I keep track of my sizes of squares that I'm going to use, and eventually um, take out this background and use the built-in Wonder Draft grid instead of the one that I got out of Donjon. Then I will go from this continent size map down to regional size map. Okay, I've got the whole basic land mass done. Here, here, sub masses done. I get the submasses in, I'm going to do the fill brush. What I do when I homebrew a world, first thing I do is I get the first major continent kind of outlined. I come up with 2 or 3 political divisions within that major continent, just rough in general. Then I pick an area within there. I actually create a settlement for my characters to start out at. And then as I need things, I start filling in more and more detail. I do like to have the first major political thing fairly wrapped out, fleshed out before I do start a campaign. Um, and then as we're going into the campaign, I'll flesh out more and more of the other stuff, especially as it starts to be interacted with whatever the party is. I like to leave some fluidity when I first start, and then as I get more and more groups that play in the area, it fills itself in nicely. And blobs here. I run my games, if I'm not running them live, I use Foundry Virtual Tabletop. I do have access to a local printer where I can get these maps printed. If you look behind me, I have the maps of 2 major political areas behind me from one of my last long running homebrew campaigns. That one went for a couple years. I wanted to go through a brand new process. Being recently retired, I figured, hey, that's a perfect time to create a brand new homebrew world. Come up with the stuff for it, and maybe get it all actually put in books. I like reading. I like playing top role playing games. Love to be the game master / dungeon master. Imagination type stuff really interests me. Again, it's a slow process. Um, Takes some time, but I think overall, by spending the time, at least to get an initial set of stuff fleshed out and build it gradually, um, makes it interesting. That way, you're not playing in the same old Sword Coast from the Forgotten Realms, or Absalon from Pathfinder. Gives you the opportunity to create your own stuff. I typically do use their monsters and creatures. Come up with a few twists here and there, but get the world way I want it. And here, again, you don't need to have everything because your first level characters are not going to be able to traverse the entire planet quickly. More than likely, they're going to start out on foot. You only need things that are 20-ish miles away from your starting area. Um, that's about as far as they're going to be able to travel in a given day. Um, Still, that's a nice roaded places with roads, um, designed for travel. They're in forests or mountains. They're going to go a lot slower. Gives you time to come up with everything that you need. Once you get the first map done, the rest is a lot easier because you can just import these maps, put in your political boundaries, and start doing things with it. Back to 16 guys. Move. Looks like I pretty much got the major gist of this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and fill this one in. Roll. Case. Do what. There is a way. I've done it before where I was able to import a whole map, put it into another program, turned it all to black, and then this automatically generated walls for me. I couldn't figure it out today, but this is still a process that you can do with any old map. Here, good. Raise landmass. I'm going to go here. First thing I want to do is I want to fill this major. Like that. Good. Raising mountains. Two. Get the landmass. The land. River tool, lake tool, freshwater, freshwater. I'm filling in the ocean right now. The upper part. The upper region, I'm going to go back to land. Lizard. Fresh. Space in. Pull in. To make it a little smaller. As I here, I can go bigger, smaller, big. We'll go back through and raise that land higher in a little bit. Bring the picture back on top. Gosh. Oh, I should have just gone for a rough outline. Gone into details later. I don't mind. Oops, Control Z. Base. Boom. For area done. Water. My doggies. I think it's time to get up and play around the living room, playing with each other. Fortunately, it is about 11 o'clock at night, and it's not a time for them to play. Uh, Thank you. In the middle of generating a brand new world. Zoom out. For some reason, lost. No. Control Z. Generating a brand new world from scratch. We started out with the other day. I created basically the world here. Right now, I'm using WonderDraft to make this. I cut this piece part out, and I'm going to use it to. Right now, I'm filling in the land masses, and I'll eventually be able to create maps like I've done in the past. Let me go to my campaign. Of course, I have it. I use WonderDraft, and when I get all done with WonderDraft, from tracing from those outlines, I'll be able to create something similar to this, where I actually put in my political boundaries, major stuff like that. So I'm working on creating a brand new world. Um, and right now I'm in the WonderDraft portion. What I did is I took the PNG that I created using Don John, cut out the part that I wanted to use, and now I'm in the process of just playing fill in the blank. Basically, I trace the outlines, and right now I'm in the process of filling in the land. After I fill in the land, I will put some key features in it. Tedious process. There was a way last time I did it And I was able to use GIMP to create a black blob of my land. And then I was able to automate the land generation somehow in WonderDraft. And I can't find my notes on that. But I know the process that I'm doing now will at least get me the semi outlines that I want for a better looking map than just what was created using Don John's world generator. Um, Basically, I'm going to do the whole process. Basically, starting a whole world out from scratch, creating townsfolks, maps of the towns. Basically, we just started a brand new D&D campaign where I'm actually playing as a player for the first time in a couple years. And I want to use the downtime while I'm not GMing to create our new starting locations for the next campaign I run, whether it's in Pathfinder or in Dungeons and Dragons. Do run using Foundry VTT for when I'm running remote games. I love the Pathfinder implementation on Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Now that WotC/Hasbro is letting Foundry do some stuff with 5e, I may try to get back into 5e on Foundry. But I like that Paizo has allowed Foundry and others to use all of their game rules free of charge within Foundry. Makes it really nice. The Foundry Pathfinder community is very helpful. Only thing you don't get is right out of the box is the artwork for the monsters, but you very what I consider inexpensive purchase to be able to use that artwork. They come up with they have a couple artwork bundles, one for NPCs, one for monsters, and basically makes it almost seamless to run Pathfinder games in Foundry. You don't have to go through the hoops that you do with the Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And I like it a lot. Go. Then I know because this is tedious, what I typically do is I'll do 1 to 2 steps on this, then I'll go back to my original map. Okay, there's a town. I'll start thinking about what I want that town to be. Town size, that type of information. Now, figure out where we're at here. Starting to look nicer as I do the zoom in and outs. Again, I can bring the picture back on top as I start to put brush and stuff like that in. Bigger for a couple cloths. Smaller. Smaller. Gotta get this filled in. So dogs finally settled down. They're both laying at my feet. The older one is growling at the younger one right now, says, "Hey, get off my leg." Okay, we're gonna zoom in. Oh, faces. And we're gonna go to bed in a little bit. Been sick recently, and I'm trying to get over that. Start off a 22 neighborhood. Sounds more like a 243. Um, 2 shots. Is somebody poaching something? Either that or the bears got into the yards again. First shot sounded just like maybe a 223, something slightly larger than a 22. The other one was slightly louder, more like the 243 sound. Almost got this whole main continent in. Next thing I'm going to do after I do this is I'm going to pick the first main capital city from my original paint drawing, the location for it, and then do a little bit of building that. It looks like I have this for right stuff to do. Then move. Commando. Or I've got gist of it. Let's go water. Water. Do I think I'm using the trace. I go to my overlay. Okay, we kind of got that in there right now. Oops. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna go save. Um, so just gonna call this continent 1 for now. And I'm just gonna call this blank. I can still pull it in. I want to put this just above landmass. Okay. Paste to move. Paste. Overlay. Frame do we want for this? Let's pull out. Trying to figure out how I can get the stream overlay back onto my that. I like that, but it cuts off part of the map. So almost like I wonder. Go back to here. Disable this for now. A new map. Change map size. Let's add 80, so 3860. there, there. That one better. A frame. Okay, now comes the tough part. My original map is 200 grids across. I want to do that in 24 hours. 200 divided by 24 is 8. Call it grids. I mean, what I'm saying is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That width right through here would be a time zone. This is 48. 48 divided by 8 is 6. Be 6 time zones for this continent. Pull up paint really quick. That's a quarter, half. I guess that does make sense. Um, at this area here as being the whole width of the planet. We called the planet Galade. Figure out why in a little bit. Okay, so let's do some counting of squares in here. 1, 2. About 6. 1, 2. Hit the grid again. That's the flat hex. Okay, so let's do 40. Trying to figure out what I want for my grid size. I'm going to get rid of overlay. Turn this up to 96. Actually, like 96 because that's a 2. Um, trace tool, we're going back. Earth is 24,000 miles. I mean, yeah, approximately 24,000 miles around. 1,000 miles per time zone at the equator. I'm going to do some research here. 2,800 miles east to west across the United States. Go back to my paint picture and kind of figure out what we want here. We're going to do 2,000. Two, 4, 6, 8. We'll call that 2,000 miles. See what it looks like if we do call it 2,000 miles. We're going to change these to tops. $50, 48. Each of those squares is 48 miles. So 96, cut in half. 8, 12, 6. Mile. Back to green. See what I can do. Okay, so it only can go up by a factor of 2 if I do the whole map. That's the detail map. Okay. We're going to call this, we're going to get rid of the back to water. Save that. We're going to call back to my to 90. Come down here and back to water really fast. Back to that. Turn 40 miles. Mile to square. That will give us miles. Up. 1,000 miles across there. I like that. We're going to do each of those as 24 miles. Else on here. That. Have the frame. Creator. For our compass rose. Okay. Save again. Okay. I think that is going to be enough for our general outline of this right now. We're going to go back into Paint. We're going to figure out the name of the town. We get a couple documents. I want to do something really quick. This, that. One. Boom. Close that. Going to that. See if that one opened. Okay. So what I want is we're going to come up with some information here. Uh, go to Anja. We don't want names. So we're going to come up with some information here. Use for our system. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back up paint. Should zoom in. I want to figure out where we want to. Um, I think we're going to go with this region right here. Capital city right in this area. So let's do some area calculation. Back up here. I'm going to go to play this. Measure the area. First thing I want to do is I'll put my overlay back on. I'm going to think about political boundaries. I'm going to have three major boundaries in one. So back on paint. Zoom out. Control Z a couple. This is a political boundary. Like that. Those will be the three main political boundaries on the first continent. Um, trying to find a continent name. Dominantly. Um, Um, definitely. Okay, we got our first name. So I'm gonna hide the middle. Continent. Continent one. Okay. Name. He said there are going to be 3 countries. Up with some names for them. If I come back here, call it Chagu. First country is going to be Chagu. Antius Chagu. Call the first country Chagu. Wealthy. Back to Chagu. Name. So I use Google Docs to start with, and I'll end up building everything. Have some other tools that I can use there. I'm just gonna start there. LLHY. Call that Yeti. Um, I want to put on here. E name. Okay, so we're gonna make a street per city like that. To go with. Got first continent here. Draft. Screen really quick. Back to my app. It gives me an idea of what it looks like. Um, then, so I can come. We're going to go back to WonderDraft because it has the tool I wanted to use was area measure. I'm going to go back and look at paint that I cut off. So below the forest, top of the mountain, I'm going to measure the area of Pegu. Go. $67,500. Called this country Chagu. Okay. I'm using the I'm using the Donjon Medieval Demographics Calculator. And for the map, using we go 2,000, 1,500, 1,000, 2,000 years old. Largest city, second I'm going to use this information, print screen to get this data. We are going to largest city. Daegu. So go back to the right screen really quick. I have 4 monitors that I'm working. The city of Chago covers approximately 379 acres with a population of people. Okay, do is I'm going to and go back to my document. Gives me the information. Second largest has 11,000. Um, on pay. As there are other cities of note in the call it city one for right now. City two. Into cities on their own page. We got 2 big cities, 2 smaller ones. We have an 11,000 and a 23,000. Back to the right screen really quick where it says it has in here labels. Six acres. Divide by magic shops there. Magic shops. 1, 2. I'm just using this as rough information of country, continent. I'm just This is from Medieval Demographics Made Easy. There we go. Population density. Villages 20 to 1,000, towns 1,000, 8 cities, 8, 12 big cities, 12 um towns. So where all of this data is coming from, we will use it to build things out. And back to the middle screen. Go to Chagu, right at the top. Covers 67,000 square miles. 2.7 million. We'll adjust that. Largest city has 54 castles and 24 ruins. So if we go back to our Wonder Draft map, we start counting squares. So we're going to clear. I just want to roughly count the squares that are in here. See about this. 24. Multiply its width 0.93, where there was clear. We have 24. .500 square miles per hex at this scale. I'm going to put that in my notes, my general notes. Go back to continent. Hex 500. The first thing we're going to want to put on here is our capital city, which is going to be called Chagu. And let's go to our actual Wonder Graph map. We're going to have some rivers coming out here. Water. River tool. My river. Got some basic river in there. Want some symbols. That we're going to see. That use for our cities. Okay. We have a city in here. Table. All this one. Back. Out. Overlays. Hide the overlay. And it crashed on us. So let's put it back up. And I think that's going to be it for the night because it's midnight. What our last save was at. Up his go outside. We'll go outside in a minute, boys. I just need to see where I was at. Well, it didn't get anything there for us, so we're gonna. So at least we have the compass rose and all that on the map. We'll go back in. Going to do overlay. Pull it back in. of mass, and we're going to save. Exit. Okay. So we have some information. My next session, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Kagu City. Um, have Chagu Chanti. We're going to get Chagu kind of fleshed out. Um, it is got a lot of people in it. So if I were to and blow this up so you guys can read what I'm reading here. Gives us some ideas for bakers, blacksmith, bookbinders, uh, jewelers, rope makers, magic shops. 120 noble houses, 64 guardsmen, 45 lawyers, 914 clergy, of which there's 28 priests. So we'll use that to come up with some information. But for now, that'll be it for our